Coming up on Broncos Weekend, Denver looks to start a new streak as it heads to sunny Southern California to face the Chargers.
We got a lot of confidence in this locker room and who we are, what we're going to do, and how we can go about it.
Russell Wilson hopes to bounce back, but faces a tough challenge against NFL sack leader Khalil Mack.
We've played a lot of great teams this year, and you got to answer the bell with a mindset to win and play fundamentally sound.
On defense, will the takeaways return as the Broncos try to slow down the electric Justin Herbert?
We're going to have to be way better than we were last week in order to give ourselves a chance to win, and obviously takeaways are going to be at the utmost importance.
We have bold predictions and a one-on-one with Marvin Mims Jr. coming up next on Broncos Weekend. Hello, and thank you for joining us here on Broncos Weekend. I am Phil Milani, alongside the Hall of Famer, Steve Atwater, and Super Bowl champ, Ryan Harris. Guys, our main story this week is how are the Broncos, after winning 5 in a row, stubbed their toe last week against the Texans, how are they going to bounce back, Steve?
Well, I would say, first of all, they can't let their confidence take a hit. They still got to be confident that they're a good team, that they can play well, and that they can bounce back from this loss. And to be honest, the way that they played, many people don't think that they should have been in the game at the end as close as they were, but they were. You got to correct the things that you did wrong, but know that you're still a good football team.
For me, with the Broncos, it starts with situational football. Let's start on third down where they went 0 for 11. Cannot happen. At the end of the game, red zone. Your tight end you throw to doesn't know the play, right? Turnovers, getting the turnover from your defense and then turning the ball back over to the opposing team. That's a situation they call sudden change. So if I'm the Broncos, I'm going in this week and I had this entire week, I said, look, we played great. We have to win the situations, put an extra third down period in there, but they go 3 for 11 on third down. They win that game. They get that touchdown at the end of the game. They win that game. So I'm with Steve. You got to keep the confidence and win the situations.
Yeah, they kind of got away from their winning formula a little bit, taking the ball away, protecting the football on offense. That sort of flip-flop last week. And, talking about this Chargers team, it's a team that's lost 5 games by 3 points or fewer. I mean, their record isn't that great, Steve, but this is still a dangerous football team.
Yeah, definitely a dangerous football team. They've had some key injuries at some key positions. Joey Bosa, their dominant edge rusher, he's been injured. Mike Williams, their starting wide receiver. But they got some backup guys who've been playing okay, but it's not up to the standard of the starters. So we still got to come out, again, ready for them to play well. Any team in the NFL, if you're not ready, they can beat you.
Everything is in December right now for the Broncos, and it doesn't matter who you play. December is the difference. The Broncos have to be successful. Now, there's going to probably be more Broncos fans than Chargers fans. And this Chargers defense just pitched his first shutout since I think it was 2017. Khalil Mack is going for his 4th straight game with 2 sacks or more. This is a tough situation and an opportunity in the division to establish dominance. You got to make the most of this opportunity.
Yeah, the Broncos have lost 11 straight road games in the division. Well, and they say these games counted twice. It would be a big. Week 5 of 2019 was the last time they won a road game in the AFC West. And this week, Sean Payton talked about the importance of this home stretch.
When I first got into coaching, a lot of times teams would divide the season into quarters because it was 16 weeks. Now it's 17, but we are in that last quarter pole. And there's a lot of teams that are kind of sitting where we are. And so this stretch is going to be important, and it's pretty obvious.
And what we're watching for this week is the Broncos offense trying to stay on the field. Ryan, you mentioned it there, 0 for 11 last week against the Texans. How do they get better there? Because I know Khalil Mack is on the edge. He's looking to wreck this game.
Well, one, anticipate the obstacles that you're going to face. And you can do that on first down, second down, and third down, right? Second, you just got to have some calm in these stressful moments. I mean, Steve will tell you, fans don't know, but sometimes guys just get nervous in the moment. The noise is loud, you're hearing sounds, you think you know what you're doing, and coach will be like, what were you doing? You're like, I don't know, coach, it happened in that moment. So you gotta stay calm, you gotta understand the techniques of the play, but also just win the situation each and every down and anticipate problems so you can create your reaction before the game even begins.
Yeah, and these type of situations come up all the time, and the way you correct it is in practice. You got to make sure that you understand every single situation that you're going to be in, and when they come up, you just, it's like clockwork. You know exactly what you're going to do, where you're not questioning, you're not throwing your hands up like, oh, what do I have? And also, hey, we got to make sure that we are making the proper calls to get guys in motion or whatever we got to do to make sure that the play goes properly.
It felt like last week Russ was under a lot of duress, he was. Right off the snap, the guy's coming off. And, Khalil Mack, he's just like Will Anderson was last week. He can really change the outcome of games.
And the biggest thing I know from playing against Khalil Mack, you have to change the snap count. He's going to figure it out early and often. He's going to jump that count. But again, where's the chips coming from? Is it coming from outside in? Is it coming from inside out? I like now, even sometimes the tight end's going right behind the guard and tackle saying, I'm right here in between you. Anything comes into this B gap, I got you. So that's where coaches come into play, and Russell Wilson has to change that snap count to give the offensive lineman a chance, because it's tough to go backwards when someone's going forwards at the same start.
Yeah, and you definitely got to chip them, whether it's the tight end or whether it's Javonte Williams, Samaje Perine. You got to get another set of hands and another face into.
Put him on the ground.
Yeah, oh man.
Well, he had 6 sacks in one game this year. And of course, Ryan, we remember 2015, he had 5 against Brock Osweiler that year. So he's certainly capable of getting hot there and really affecting the outcome. Earlier this week, Russell Wilson talked about the team's third down struggles.
I think the third down this past week, we got to be better. We got to convert. We got to find ways to convert. This and that. And I think we're close on a few plays and made it 4th and 1 a few times. I think we're 3 for 3 on 4th downs, but staying on the field and all that, giving us a chance to capitalize in the red zone. I think, red zone wise, I think that's got to be continue our focus, scoring touchdowns down there and finding ways.
The Chargers come into this one with the second worst pass defense in the NFL, so maybe the Broncos offense will take to the sky in the City of Angels. Here's Denver 7's Troy Rank with our matchup of the game.
The Broncos are coming off a frustrating loss to the Houston Texans, a game they felt like they could have won. Now the challenge becomes even steeper. A division rival in the Chargers. Yes, the Chargers have struggled this season, but the Broncos, they've never won at SoFi. But this game presents an opportunity that if the Broncos are going to go on a run, they need it to be through the air. Now, they had some issues against the Texans. Drop passes, inability to get anything going in the middle of the field. And against the Chargers, they will have chances. The Chargers secondary this year has already allowed 5 games of 300-plus yards. Now, they've gotten better, though, so let's keep this in context. Not unlike the Broncos, after their loss to the Dolphins, the Chargers have made wholesale changes in their secondary over the last few weeks. They just pitched the shutout against the Patriots, for the Patriots' passing attack is meager. But they are better. They've changed the outside corner. They changed another cornerback. They also brought in Isang Bassi, a familiar name around here, to play slot corner, and he's been a huge improvement for them. That being said, the Broncos should still be able to take advantage of the Chargers in the secondary. Derwin James, their safety, he takes chances. And again, as much as this secondary has improved, outside of the game against Lamar Jackson, I do think you have to keep in mind the competition they were going up against. So how do the Broncos get better? For me, it's a pretty simple answer. Jerry Jeudy needs to get more involved in the passing game. He's getting a few big catches a week, but he needs to be around 5 to 8 targets. I say that because he's been getting open consistently. Russell Wilson at times, not his fault. He's trying to scramble, get something done, get out of the pocket. But other times, Russell's putting his head down a little bit too soon, not climbing the pocket. That's where Judy's breaking open. Those two need to get in sync. At times, Jerry Jeudy can be better in space than NASA. They have to utilize that. So how do you do that? How about some more quick hitters, some slants? Get him the ball early, maybe a bubble screen. Try to get him into rhythm, because teams are going to continue to focus on Courtland Sutton. He has been a rock star in the red zone. But this passing attack, with the absence of a really clear passing catching tight end, they need to emphasize Jerry Jeudy a little more going forward. And that opportunity presents itself against the Chargers. Again, if this team's going to make a run, they need to do it through the air.
Thank you very much, Troy. We're back here at the desk. Let's talk about play action and how that could help Russell Wilson in this offense. Steve, play action kind of just keeps that defense, makes them hesitate for a second, huh?
Yeah. Now, I was a quarterback back my rookie year in college, and I quickly was moved to the safety position. Coming from a defensive player's point of view, it really kind of stops your momentum. If you're thinking about rushing the passer, you can run in there, but once you see it's a run play, you got to slow down in your tracks. And then once he takes it out, then you're like, oh, then you got to get going again. So it slows defenses down when you have that play action pass in the game, and you got to establish that with the run game. But if you don't have the run game going, nobody's going to bite on it. They're just going to keep on rushing. So it's extremely important, not just for Russell Wilson. Any quarterback, I think, improves their numbers when they had a play action pass involved.
When you're attacking the defense, when you're running the ball, that creates that, drop back, play action pass. But let's be clear, part of the reason why Russell Wilson's so good in the play action is because it's the few time that he has time to set up. They're moving the pocket and things like that. But I'm 100% with Steve. You have to run the football. Otherwise, you're not getting those linebackers and safeties to take even 3 steps up the field. If they don't believe Javonte Williams is going to break it out for 13 yards, they're not going to take that step. You got to run the football early and often, and that's an opportunity for the coaches and players to establish how the game is going to go in the trenches.
It's got to be a legitimate threat, the running game, and I think that's something the Broncos will try to get going this week. It's time for us to take our first break here. When we come back, we'll hear from Marvin Mims Jr. We'll also tell you the advantage the Broncos have with their remaining schedule. That's next on Broncos Weekend.
I feel like every game is a must-win game, especially these last 5, be able to get into the playoffs and just finish as winners, so, I feel like it was a very important game.
Our memorable matchup this week, 1997, a 10-point victory over the Chargers. The defense that season scored 7 touchdowns, and the Broncos, of course, returned to Qualcomm a couple months later to win the Super Bowl. Our key stat this week, only 4 teams in the Super Bowl era have made the playoffs after starting the season 1-5. The Broncos looking to make that 5 teams. But with 5 games remaining, the Broncos only face 1 team with a winning record. That's the Lions next week. We're back here on Broncos Weekend. Phil Milani alongside Steve Atwater and Ryan Harris. Steve, that was your only touchdown. What do you remember?
Oh, man, I should have had many more than that. We were just laughing about it a little bit here on the set. Yeah, I had a Hall of Fame career in the end, but I do have some regrets. And I've dropped a few of those. Man, it was so easy. But, hey, it's all good. But
do you have a dance ready to go or anything?
No.
Come on.
I didn't get there enough to have a dance,
Were you surprised? Did you know? What did it feel like crossing the line, man?
It felt great. Now, I had one in college, but in the NFL, just one. Yeah.
These defensive guys, when they get the ball in their hands, they don't know what they're like. Ah!
No. There's some defensive guys who are like offensive guys who they have very good hands.
Bland says hello. Yeah. He's playing well for the Cowboys.
All right. Okay, guys, let's get some bold predictions here for this game coming up Sunday. Steve, let's start with you.
Well, I think that the defense is going to get back on track. I'm going to predict 3 turnovers, and I'm going to say the offense, 0 turnovers.
Yeah,
and that's going to help us win the game, keep control of the clock.
Yep, and still keep your spot in the playoffs contentious, right? Like you can still get to the playoffs with the win. I like 2 rushing touchdowns for the Broncos. I like 2 sacks as well for the offensive line. It's a lot to ask for 0, but I got 2 rushing touchdowns with 2 sacks. That's going to be a good day and a chance for the Broncos to win if they can do that.
Yeah, that'd be a big bounce back for this offensive line. Hey, how about a big return from Marvin Mims Jr.? Maybe a big play. He was close on one last week. The rookie wideout is standing by with Sidney Jones inside the Broncos locker room.
Thanks, Phil. We're inside the locker room here with wide receiver Marvin Mims. Marvin, head coach Sean Payton, he's talked a lot about communication and how you guys need to improve on that, especially on offense on the road. So what are you guys doing this week to kind of fix that for this weekend?
Yeah, just making sure we're on the same page. Every drive, every snap, always talking about what we saw and then how we ran our routes, all that stuff. Just getting back to Russ and the O-lineman. So I think, the more we do that, the better we're going to be in the long run.
Marvin, for you specifically, how do you want to get more involved in the passing game and really take advantage of the opportunities?
Yeah, just kind of get those looks where kind of just take advantage of what the defense gives me, in different looks. It's kind of hard, especially with some coverages we've seen, especially lately. But, just when the opportunity gives itself a chance, try to make the most of it.
Marvin, you've seen a lot of his success in the return game. So do you feel like teams are approaching you a little bit differently with the way they kick to you?
Yeah, I think kicks have definitely come different, more hang time, more kicking on the sidelines and kicking in the middle of the field and giving me more room. And then in the kick return game, I mean, most of them are kicking it out of the bounce, kicking it real short. So it's been a lot of different kicks, but it just means you're doing something right, and we have a really good kick return unit.
Marvin, since you're a rookie, the college season would have been over at this point in the year. So how do you feel physically knowing that you have 5 weeks remaining in the season?
Yeah, honestly, I feel way better than I thought I would. But, just like with some coaches saying that and then now you just saying it kind of feels crazy. Yeah. Like college season would already been over. So it just kind of tells how long this goes and how it's like a week-to-week thing and how you can kind of just get lost into it.
Mm-hmm. Looking ahead, how do you feel like the mindset and the focus has really been this week in the locker room as you guys look to bounce back?
Yeah, for sure. Just kind of doing the little coaching points, little things out there, and just kind of sticking within ourselves, not letting us get out and let the defense, make us do certain things that we're not used to doing. Just sticking with our game plan and just going in and playing confident.
Yeah, what have you seen from this Chargers defense on tape?
Yeah, they're a real aggressive defense. Great front seven, good secondary, has some hard hitters and safeties, and then their corners are pretty good corners. So it's going to be a challenge for us offensively, especially with their defense. But we have some good things drawn up, and we're going to make the most of it.
Well, looking forward to it. Marvin, appreciate your time.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Phil, I'll send it back to you.
Thank you very much, Sydney. Back here at the desk, how do you get these guys more involved? Marvin Mims Jr., Jerry Jeudy, we saw the replay during the broadcast. Hey, a couple of times he was just wide open. How do you get them the ball more, Steve?
Well, first off, it's only one ball. There's only so much time available in the game. And you got to be able to move the ball. And when you're moving the ball, you can spread around to as many people as you like. But when you're off the field, 3 and out, and you're having penalties, you're not able to convert, then it's going to be limited on the number of plays and number of opportunities that these receivers get. Now, they're playmakers. You want to get them the ball. You feel like Marvin Mims. Well, how can you justify giving him passes when you aren't even giving Jerry Jeudy enough passes? So I think it'll come in due time, but and hopefully it's this week.
Success in life and football depends on relationships. And if I'm Marvin Mims and I'm Jerry Jeudy, I'm taking Russell Wilson to dinner. I'm going to his house if he's not going to dinner. I'm sitting with him at the lunchroom. I'm having these conversations. I've seen wide receivers do that during the season. Like, we're not on the same page. What's it going to be? Like, I'm either got to meet you outside of the field to get you comfortable with me or tell me what I need to do. So that's on Marvin Mims and Jerry Jeudy to take their next step as pros and to build that relationship with Russell Wilson that clearly Cortland Sutton has done in this short amount of time together.
It's kind of like the quarterbacks do for the offensive linemen.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, one of the things, the year we won the Super Bowl, is one of the few teams I was on where offensively we would go to dinner Thursday nights the entire season. And it makes a difference. You get to say, oh, I do like Phil Milani. I do like Steve Atwater, But when you're working, you're getting yelled at by coaches, it's different. But those two guys, you gotta demand what you want. And if I'm those two, Marvin Mims or Jerry Jeudy, I'm building that relationship with Russell Wilson, sitting next to him on the plane, asking him what he's watching, all of these things.
Maybe an early Christmas gift. Hey,
never hurts. Never hurts. That's right. You got some under the desk for us. Huh? All right, Phil. Thank you.
Hey, return the favor. Yeah, exactly. We'll see what happens this week against the Chargers. But we're going to take a quick break here, our final timeout. When we return, we'll have the keys to victory for the Broncos, and we'll also explain why you should keep an eye on Javonte Williams this week. That's next on Broncos Weekend.
Big run there, and the burst by Javonte Williams.
Just starting fast. It's a team that we play twice every year. So we know what they're gonna do. They know what we're gonna do. We just gotta be the better team and be more physical.
The Broncos have had success playing physical football this year, but surprisingly, Javonte Williams is without a rushing touchdown this season. Maybe this is the week. For more, here's Sydney Jones with our Fantasy Focus.
Thanks, Phil. For this week's Fantasy Focus, I want to take a look at running back Javonte Williams. He's been a consistent and solid back in fantasy the past several weeks, averaging 13.3 points in PPR leagues the past 6 games. His best performance came back in Week 10 in Buffalo versus the Bills, putting up 21 points. Now looking at this weekend, he's projected to put up 13.1 fantasy points in Los Angeles. And with the Chargers allowing 379.5 net yards per game, which ranks 29th in the NFL, we could see another productive outing for Javonte on the ground and in the passing game. So if you have him on your roster, I'd start him in your flex spot this Sunday.
Thank you very much, Sydney. Talking about this running game, that could help the Broncos stay on the field, keep the ball away from Justin Herbert a little bit. But Steve, if you take a look at Justin Herbert's numbers this year, he's having sort of an abnormal year for him.
Yeah, it's strange because we know that he's such a talented quarterback. He's a guy who's mobile, he's super tall, he can see over the offensive line, and he throws accurate passes. But I think that the changes with the offensive coordinator over the years, I think it's finally taken a toll on him. They need some stability for him at that quarterback position, at that offensive coordinator position, to make sure that he fully understands what he's doing, he's fully invested, and he knows that the team is invested in keeping that position stable.
First and foremost, enjoy watching him because Justin Herbert has one of the best arms in the NFL. He's going to make amazing throws, and they don't use the run game enough. Austin Eckler is a huge asset that they failed to use. Defenses are playing the pass 10 times out of 10. They'll get caught in the run sometimes. That's why Eckler will have some big plays. But without a steady run game, this is the best Justin Herbert's going to be.
Yeah, and Joe Lombardi, the Broncos offensive coordinator, spent 2 seasons, the last 2 seasons, with Justin Herbert. Guys, the Chargers, they beat the Patriots 6-0 last year.
Oh, man.
They won the game.
Watch your paint dry.
6 points. I mean, I don't know how you do that. I think that was the first time since 2018 a team has won scoring just 6 points.
Wow.
I guess the defense did its job last week for the Chargers. Let's get our keys to victory. Ryan, maybe start with you.
Situational football, it's easy to forget about the details and key moments. Win third down, win the red zone, protect Russell Wilson, you come away with a W.
For me, it starts with the run game. We got to establish the run game, continue the run game, first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter. Secondly,
pound the rock.
The communication has to be on point. We got to make sure everybody's communicating and understanding what the different adjustments are in the defense. And finally, I'd say Khalil Mack and Keenan Allen, we got to keep these guys under control.
Yeah, those are the Chargers superstars there. Those are our keys to victory. The Broncos have lost 3 straight road games against LA, so time to change that around, and they'll play the Chargers again in Week 17. So 2 games against the same opponent here in close proximity. Okay, that's going to do it for us. Our thanks to Troy Rank and Cindy Jones. Ryan Harris here at the desk. Steve Atwater. I am Phil Milani. Thank you so much for watching Broncos Weekend.